Hello happy people, Hamza here and welcome back to the channel. And in this video we're going to explore one of the plugins that was made by Brainstorm first, the team behind Astra, which actually enables you to make free headers, footers and blocks that you can use within your Elementor website. It doesn't matter whether it's in the free version or in the paid version, but in this case I'm going to only concentrate on the free version of Elementor. And when you look into here, my plugin section, you see that I only have the free version of Elementor and then that plugin called Elementor, header, footer and blocks. You can get it simply by coming over here to the plugins, add new plugin, and you can simply search header, footer, blocks, and boom, once it shows up. At the moment it has over 300,000 active installations and it was made by Brainstorm first. Now once you install it and activate, then you are simply ready to go. Now first of all, to get started, let me show you the website that we have. At the moment we have a WordPress website having the basic headers that were made by Astra. This is a header by Astra and this is a footer that is from Astra, but we are going to replace this footer and we are going to replace this header right here, and we are also going to use the blocks feature by header footer blocks plugin to position a block just below right here. So now to start off, we're going to head back straight to our dashboard and we are going to simply come right here under the appearance section, come over to header and footer builder. So at the moment I have a header template that was already created, so I'm simply going to trash this. So what we are simply going to do is to create a template, and in this case I'm going to create a header template. And for now I have to choose the type of template that I want to create. In this case I'm going to choose a header and I want to display this header on the entire website. Now the beauty with this plugin, actually it gives you the possibility to position your header somewhere else. For example, you can create a separate header for the singulars, these are the blog posts, and you can also create a separate header for the archives, these are like the archive pages. You can create a special header for special pages like the 404 page, which is the error page, the search page, blog posts page only, front page, date archives, and all these other categories. So that means that you actually have the freedom to create a header template for any of these sections for your WordPress website. In this case, I simply want to display my website on the entire website, but also it gives you the possibility to add display rules, or you can add an exclusion rule and say this header will not display on search results pages. Now that means that this header that you're creating will display on the entire website, but it will not display on the search page. In this case I don't want to add anything like that. Then the user role, for example, you can say this header is going to display for all people who are logged in or logged out, or anyone that you simply want to have access to that specific header template. We can add these same rules to even the footer and the before footer. Okay, now let's head back to our header, and right down here they also give the option to enable layout for Elementor canvas template. Now if you have used Elementor, you realize that Elementor has two different canvases, one the Elementor full width and one the Elementor canvas. So you can either enable this header also to be enabled or to be displayed on the Elementor canvas template. And remember that the Elementor canvas template doesn't display a header that you have set up by default to appear on your entire website, but now this plugin gives you that possibility. Okay, now let's simply publish. So we have our header published and I'm going to simply open with Elementor. Cool. Now we can start creating our header. You can start from scratch by simply adding a section and adding some columns. For example, duplicate a column. I can duplicate this one too. Now the other thing I have to mention is that this plugin, the Elementor header and footer, brings you a number of new other widgets in the recent update. For example, when you come over here to the header, footer, builder and blocks, you see that it's now giving you these widgets, and these are really widgets that were found in Elementor Pro version. For example, the navigation widget, the site tagline, the site title and the site logo, these were all in Elementor Pro and were not available in the header footer builder plugin earlier on. So now we have this possibility. For example, I can add a navigation right here. I can come back here and then I can select to have a site title or a site logo. For example, by simply dragging that over, I simply have my site logo. Now this is a logo that I set up even in Astra. If you want to change and use a different logo, you can simply just switch here and say custom image. But if you had set up your logo in the theme section under the appearance, then it will automatically show up right here. If I don't want to show the site logo, I can simply just come back over here on the header, footer and blocks section, and I can simply just drag over here my site title, boom, and then the site title shows up. But I simply just wanted to show you that actually this plugin gives you the possibility to have these widgets when you're creating your header. I'm not going to create my header from scratch. I'm simply just going to click over here on the folder icon. I'm going to come here to the templates area, and you realize I have some templates. These are templates that I've already imported. For example, I have 3 header templates. For example, if I say insert template, simply say override, yes, boom, I have right here a header template. If I can show you another template over here, I can simply insert this, say override. Okay, I have another one over here, and I can simply just come back here to my widgets, and I can insert my navigation over right in this widget or column. So I'm simply just going to come over here under the header, footer and block section. I'm simply going to just drag my navigation and I insert it over there, select the navigation, then come over here to which menu you want to display. I simply want to display the primary menu. Please don't forget that you should have these already created. When I go back here to my website, come to the dashboard, then come to appearance, menus, you'll see that I have already created a menu for my, and I've also already created a menu as my primary menu, which is this over here. So by selecting in this section, primary menu, this is the menu that is actually going to show up in our navigation. Okay, so now I can do some edits. For example, I can style this up by changing the colors. For example, the normal text color, I can switch this to white. On hover the text color, I'm going to switch it to something like yellowish, something like that. And on active, I can just simply make it to be maybe this green. When the page is active, it will switch to green. Now let me delete these other sections that I had created for my header. Let me look into the responsive settings on tablet. This is how it looks like. Now we can make some changes. For example, on mobile, we want that our hamburger icon is on the extreme end. So select this widget, come to the layout section, and we are going to simply just come down here and select the alignment, align it on the very right. You see now it's aligned on the extreme right. So I'm going to simply just come now to the style. I'm going to come over here to the menu trigger and close icon. I'm going to change the color to something like this, to be white. So when someone clicks over here, the menu should show up. And let me just go back now to the tablet. I'm simply just going to come back here to the content, layout, breakpoint. I'm going to switch this back to the tablet so that even on mobile, it will show still the hamburger icon. I can either choose to leave the button here, but in this case, let me delete the button. I don't want to show the button. And I'm going to come over here on this column. I'm going to make it to take over 60%, and I'll give the logo to take 40%. Now that means that I'm maximizing the whole section. Let me change the logo. I can simply just use the word, but in this case, I'm going to come back here to the widgets, come to our section for the header and footer blocks, select our site title or by site logo. I'll choose to use a site logo, something like that. I can reduce this further on by coming over here to the style, and I can change the width, and I want to align this logo to be on the right, something like that. When I view this logo on the desktop, still I want it to be on the right. I'm going to reduce it a little bit further, leave it in the percentage, just give it like a 30. When we view this header or this logo on the mobile, we can just add some little bit so that it's a little bit more visible. Like a 50 is okay, or a 60, something of that sort. And yeah, we have now our logo perfectly looking nice. We can come back over here and we click on the hamburger icon. We see how our menu looks like when it's clicked over. We need now to style this because our menu is appearing, but hey, nothing is being seen. So we're going to come right here to the style. We're going to come to the drop down, and under the drop down we're going to change the text color to either black, or we can just change the background to use our text color to be white and the background to be a little bit like dark, something of that sort. And when someone hovers, our yellow shows over right there. Okay, so let me see how this looks like on the tablet. Something like that. Okay, now this looks fine. We can still further change the color for this and just make it kind of uniform. And we can also do the same on the mobile. We have to make sure that it's the same color. Okay, now let's preview how our header looks like. Okay, now this is how it looks like. I need to reduce further on the logo size, so I'm going to make this 20. I'll simply preview it. Okay, and then I'm going to extend further on our menu to be on the extreme. So I'm going to come over here. Let me pick up my navigator because it looks like it's messed up over here. Pick or select the navigation over here. Come to the main menu. Come to the content. Come to the layout. Of course, our menu layout is horizontal. If you want to use a vertical menu, you can simply just choose from any of these options right here. If you want it to be expanded, it will be something like that. You want it to fly out, that's how it will look like. In this case, we don't want to use a fly out menu, but in this case, let me just switch back to the horizontal menu, and I'm going to simply align it on the right side. Let me preview this, and you see now that our menu has moved on the extreme right hand side. Okay, now we are done creating our header. We have our logo and our navigation over there. Now we can come over here and simply say update. Now once we update, now this means that this header will be implemented on the entire website of ours, because that is what we set up. Now let's come over here to our website. Before, this is the header that we had. Let me open up this header in a new tab, or I open up the website in a new tab. That's our header. The active page is green. On hover, it is yellow. We have the logo over here and the navigation over here. When you compare the two, you see that now there is a difference. Now we are done creating our header. Next, I'm going to show you how we can create our footer using the header footer builder plugin. I'm simply going to exit this section, and I'm going to say add a new one, and I'm going to add a footer. I'm going to select the template type to be a footer, and I want this footer to appear on the entire website, and of course it will be accessed or available by all users. Now when I say publish, after publishing, I can simply edit with Elementa, and of course you can start creating your footer from scratch, like by adding a new section and add all your footer widgets over here, columns and all that stuff. In this case, I'm simply going to use a template I've already saved up here in my templates library, and I'm going to just simply choose, let me say this template for the footer. I'll import and override the settings, and boom, we have our footer imported. That's how it looks like. Now when I simply update, now this means that our footer is going to appear on our website. When I come over here to our website that we are working on and I update, when I scroll right down here, you see that we have a footer or a new footer that is appearing on our website. Now this footer has replaced the default footer or the footer bar that was from Astra. Okay, now we are using this plugin to basically override everything right over here using Elementor. So when you look at this footer and this one, you see that there is a big change. You can also switch templates. Example, let me just come over here, pick another footer, insert this one. Now I have another footer, and you can simply just use it any way that you want. Maybe in case I want to use this social widget, I can just copy it, come over here, paste this one over there. I'll delete this, I don't need it. In case you want to add some sections and other content, you can just simply come over here and choose from any of the available widgets that you want to use in your footer right here. But remember that you won't be able to access the pro elements from Elementor because you're using the free version of Elementor. And that means that the only widgets that you will be able to access are those widgets that are in the free version of Elementor. And also those widgets that have been provided to you by the header, footer, and blocks plugin, which are down right here. Okay, now I'm simply going to update. Once I update, I'm going to take you here to our preview page. Okay, you see we have our footer. I'm going to reduce a little bit right here on the padding of the footer down below. Simply come back over here, select our footer, come to the advanced section. I'm going to reduce the padding. So I'm going to unlink, say 20 and below 20. Something below, I'm going to make it 10. Simply update. Okay, cool. We have now our footer show up just like this. So next what we are going to do is now we're going to head back to our dashboard, and I'm going to show you how to use the blocks feature for this plugin. So by simply adding a new section, I'm going to add a blocks section and say before footer. This section will be available or will be seen on any section before the footer appears. So I'm simply going to say before footer, and I'm going to say I want this before footer section to appear on the entire website. Or it can actually be a before footer on only the home page. Now let me show you if we're only going to show this on the home page, which is the front page over here. So this means that this template is going to appear only over right here before the footer, okay, which is our home page. Now on other pages, that block will not be shown. So back over here, I'm going to simply now say publish, and I'm going to edit this with Elementor. Okay, now I'm going to add that block. I'm not going to create everything from scratch. I'm simply just going to use a template over here. Come to my templates. I'm going to add a call to action section. I'm going to insert this. And like, of course, you can make changes to this section using Elementor. So what we are going to do is simply update. Once I update, now that means that our widget is now available to be seen on where we have set it to be seen. So coming back on our preview website, you see that we have this section which is before the footer for the testimonials, but now we're going to have another section. I'll simply reload this, and boom, we have now this section appear before the footer of our website. Okay, now let's see if this same section is appearing on other pages. When I come to the about page, I scroll down. Nah, the section is not there. The same if we go to the portfolio page. Nah, the section is not there. However, if we wanted to set up that this call to action section is appearing on all our pages, we could simply just do that. Let me just exit this to the dashboard, and I'm going to come over here to the display conditions, and I'll simply just say I want it to appear on entire website. But let me say I want to exclude this pricing template to appear on the contact page. I can simply just say exclude rule, and I don't want this to appear on a contact page. I simply just come over here on specific target, I select, and then over here I'll just say contact. Now this means that we have said that the contact page will not have that call to action template show up before the footer. So what I'm going to do is simply now update. I'm going to come back here on our website. We are going to go to the home page. We have our header and our before footer block show up here, and our footer. Now let's go to the about page. Okay, now we have also our before footer section appear before the footer, and the footer is off. Let's go to the testimonials. So our testimonials page is showing our header, which is appearing on the entire website, and our before footer block appearing right here, and the footer itself. Now let's go to the contact, which we set that it should not have the before footer block appear. So let's scroll, and boom, we don't have the before footer section appear on our contact page because simply we want to leave our map to display there. That's why we had to exclude it here in the rules of the header footer block builder. The other thing that we can do is that we can use custom sections or blocks in our Elementor website using the same plugin. So by simply saying add new, and then we can say custom block, and right here we can choose the template type, which is supposed to be a custom block, and that means that we will have this shortcode, and this shortcode we will use it on every section where I want to display that custom block. So I'll simply just copy this shortcode and I'll publish this, and then I'm going to go to Elementor so that I can design my custom block in Elementor. Of course, you can do everything from scratch by adding a new section and everything. But in this case, I'm going to use a template still, come to my templates, and I'm going to add a custom block that I've already imported. I'll simply just import this, and boom, we have this custom section over here. I can add here an image, so I'll simply just drag an image widget over here, come over here to the images. I'll simply just use this as our image for this section, and I'll simply just update. Now, once I update, I can preview this section specifically, which is a custom block, and this is how it looks like. But now let's go and display this section on any section of our website. So I'm simply just going to close this. I'm going to exit to the dashboard. Since this is a pricing block, so I will just name it to be pricing. So in case you are creating more other blocks, you don't get confused. So I'll simply just update. I still have my shortcode, which is this over here. So I'm going now to go to my pages. Let me say on our portfolio page, we want to add the custom pricing template just after the bedroom section, just below here. So I'm going to come back to my pages, and I'm going to come over here to the portfolio, and I'll edit it with Elementa. And I'm going to simply scroll right down to the section where I want to add my custom block, which is below after the bedroom, add a new section, and then I'm going to come over here, get the shortcode widget from Elementor, drag it over here to my canvas, and I'll enter in my shortcode, and I'll simply apply. And boom, we have our custom block added right here after the bedroom section and before the footer section. So I'm simply going now to update. I'm going to come to my portfolio. Before, we didn't have any section between the bedroom and the pricing widget or section. So I'm simply going to reload this, and boom, here comes our section that we just made up using the custom blocks, and we used a shortcode to display it basically on this portfolio page. So in a nutshell, that's how you can create free headers and free footers in your Elementor website, but also position and use certain blocks on your website based on a specific rule that you set for a specific block and section for your Elementor website. So in case you have any questions or comments, please let me know down in the comment box below. Otherwise, I hope this tutorial brought you value, and now that you have an idea on how you can get the most out of the free version of Elementor by simply using this free plugin from Astra.